We have been playing this CD for quite a while. It's a great CD. It's called Live and Unplugged to benefit the Purple Rose Theater, featuring singer, songwriter, and producer and playwright, Mr. Jeff Daniels. And it's a true honor to have Jeff Daniels on the Upper Room. Thanks, Jeff.
Good to be here, Joe.
So you're really busy. I'm looking at your itinerary. You're doing as many shows this winter as a regular rock star performer. What's been going on in preparation for this next stint of
for the Purple Rose shows?
Yeah, the Purple Rose shows. Yeah.
I mean, it's an unusual problem for me because I've got the CD out and people are going to want to hear certain songs off the CD. So, I've got like 35, 40 songs that are not on the CD. Easily another 15 that I could play and could easily do a show of all new material, which probably over the 10 shows drop in all of those songs at various points. And it's fun. John Hyatt, he's a guy that, he will walk out with a song list of 75 songs that he can play. And depending on how he feels and what the crowd's like, and he'll just go down the list and kind of go, all right, I'll do that one. So I don't know, maybe it'll be that this time.
So you have cameras rolling and tape rolling for possible further release?
We'll have tape rolling. We've had tape rolling all 4 of the past years, and we'll roll tape on every show. And we have about 25 to 30 songs that we've recorded live in various places. Purple Rose last year, and also Birdland at Joe's Pub in New York, and Ram's Head down in Annapolis. We recorded those shows, and so we've got plenty of material. We'll probably do something on a second CD by the fall of next year.
Well, our listeners right now, they can go to jeffdaniels.com for getting Jeff's CD, and it's all available on internet websites as well, iTunes, CD Baby, in your local Borders and other outlets. And also, you're up on iTunes as well. You've been doing a lot of traveling around and promoting the record, which is good. People see the album out and they maybe say they didn't know you were performing the song, but you've been performing just about 30 years or so, right?
Yeah, quietly just been playing just for my own enjoyment, self-taught, got all the stuff in Grossman books and, Kev Moe and all those guys. I just really studied it, especially Delta Blues and all of that. And I've just done it and written songs basically for my own kind of notebook just to throw it in there. It's kind of like a musical diary. And about 4 or 5 years ago, in order to raise more money, the theater said, why don't you go out on stage with your guitar and see if we can charge money for people to, come and see you? And it's like, well, okay. When you're raising money for a nonprofit, you'll do anything. So
Right.
It worked. And they came, and once I got through the first year and discovered just how naked you are out there with just an acoustic guitar and your own material, I understood what it was, and now have turned it into this show that's on the CD, which is very entertaining, very funny, and at times even moving.
That's interesting you say how naked it could be on stage. I was reading a quote from Prince. He did an acoustic set in his last tour, and he said, you can't be up there thinking about your grocery list the next day. You got to be really focused and everything with the audience.
You've got to be there. And what helped, to be honest, was Broadway. As an actor, to be on stage 8 times a week on Broadway or off Broadway, and where you're doing the show over and over and over and over, you start to learn where the jokes are, where it's strong, where it's weak, and it was a great kind of introduction to the musical show, with the acoustic guitar, and at least it wasn't completely foreign to me. You're definitely, when you go into the guitar solo, there's no band to look to, that's for sure.
So our listeners right now, we're talking with Jeff Daniels and the CD, which is entitled Live and Unplugged to benefit the Purple Rose Theater. All the proceeds going back into the theater.
Yeah, all the proceeds from the CD go to the Purple Rose Theater Company, which is, we sold through the website, jeffdaniels.com, and iTunes, etc. We sold about 12,000 CDs, which is pretty good for an independent release.
Yeah, definitely. People out in the Midwest can go out to Chelsea, Michigan, December 20th through the first 10 shows. Jeff will be performing at the Purple Rose Theater, 137 Park Street, Chelsea, Michigan. Ticket information 7. Moving ahead, January 2nd, you're out in Colorado at the Sheridan Opera House. And do you pronounce it Telluride?
Telluride.
Telluride, okay. And then coming here in the East, which is about 2.5 hours from where we are, March 18th in Somerville, Mass. at the Somerville Theater. special guest with Cheryl Wheeler, which
I'm gonna open for Cheryl, which will be a thrill. I'm a big fan of her songwriting.
now we kicked off before we plugged in for the interview. The opening track to the record, If William Shatner Can, I Can Too, and definitely showcases your humor, but great chops on the vocals and guitar playing. This actually kind of, was it the impetus, the title for the record to get you actually putting one together?
Well, that kind of came later. It was in front of the first show I did. I got to have an opening song because people are going to come and basically, wait to see a train wreck. I got to deal with that, the disclaimer right up front. And so in 4 years, I've always opened my show with, basically a song that says, look, I know I'm an actor and I know I'm not known for this. And I know you're sitting back judging me with like an 0-2 count on me, but you know what? Here's a song that deals with it. And it kind of gets that out of the way right off the bat.
So have you been keeping up with the Hot Stove League with the Tigers?
Tigers are a mess. Lions are worse.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
I'm actually going to do the Tiger Fan Blues at the Purple Road shows in a couple of weeks, and I've rewritten it to include references to the Lions.
Right. But I got to give you credit because I heard you were, despite that really big losing season, you had the Tiger fan hat on regardless, right?
My guys, they're my team. You got to stick with them, and it's tough, to walk into like a place like New York and watch all these Yankees.
I'm a Met fan, so you don't have to worry. I can't stand the Yankees.
Hello, but I just, I wear it. We have an apartment in New York, the top floor of a brownstone, and I've got 3 Tiger caps in there that I wear around the city.
So why don't we give a listen to that song which we just spoke about, the Lifelong Tiger Fan Blues, and it's from my special guest, Jeff Daniels. You can go to jeffdaniels.com to find out all about the record and to support independent musical theater and theater. So we'll come back and speak once again. And that's another track from Jeff Daniels, live and unplugged at the Purple Rose Theater, the Lifelong Tiger Fan Blues. And Jeff Daniels is our special guest here, accomplished actor, producer, playwright, and singer and producer. So got to give you plaudits for all your storied career and film and Broadway, and you've got just we'll touch a little bit on the acting upcoming. You have RV with Robin Williams, right? That is it totally completed?
Yeah, well, they're in post-production, so they're doing music and looping, but yeah, we're done shooting, and it's a very funny movie, studio comedy about recreational vehicles, and Robin and his family, basically the movie is Robin and his family take a recreational vehicle trip, and everything that can possibly go wrong does. It's very funny. It was a thrill to work with him.
Now, about how often do you films a year, or does it vary?
It varies. It depends. If you're in demand or people want you, then I'll probably spend 6 to 7, 8 months a year shooting, and then make sure I take 4 months off, spread out. But I tend not to take movies that, shoot for a year and a half in Thailand.
I think I saw, we were watching the other night on one of the channels, your old buddy Woody Allen. They asked him if something about, how much he is into making movies. And he said, well, if it's 6:30 at night and they want to do another shot over and over and the Knick game's at 7, he goes, inevitably, he'll go to the Knick game instead of doing the other shot.
Yeah, and it's a great lesson. When we shot Purple Rose of Cairo, I was on that for Woody. That was definitely it. If he had Knicks tickets or the game was on TV that night, we were finished by 5.
Yeah, actually, he was commenting on the Purple Rose of Cairo and yourself during that, so it probably was right around there.
Absolutely, yeah, and it was great because it's like a human work day. It's not one of these 18 to 20-hour days where they just drive you into the ground. It's he's got Knicks tickets and he's going, and that's a wrap. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, you the thing about what you've done, I'm sure, for your family and your wife, you worked in New York and established a movie career, and then you went back home to Chelsea, Michigan. Well, what's it like? What was it like at the beginning, making that decision to go back home and still make a career and do what you love?
Well, we did. Kathleen and I we had 1 kid, we were going to have more, and we both are from Michigan, so it was familiar to us. It was home. And after 10 years in New York, we just moved back to Michigan because it was home. And that's where we wanted to be. And that's where we wanted to be based. And all we did, which is unusual in Hollywood, is all we did is we put family first, career second. It was that simple. Career was a close second, as far as money and supporting a family and all that, but it was second. That meant that we didn't live where the career wanted me to live, which was LA. We lived where the family would be best off, in our opinion, and I was the one on the airplane, and that's how we did it, and our kids, I think, are better for it.
Now, for the musicians out there, what kind of guitar do you bring out on stage and use on the record?
I got, well, on the CD, I used a 1946 Gibson J45. Um, it's a great sounding guitar, and Gibson, it was actually made in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and so being from Michigan, that was important to me. I've got about 10 of these different guitars. Right now, I'm playing a 1934 Martin that, it was an arch top, with the F holes, and they didn't sound very good back then, and so they stopped making them very quickly. And there's a company in Lansing, Michigan called Elderly Instruments, and the vintage guitar guys out there know where that is and know of it. And there's a guy named Joe Kelley up there, and he took an old 1934 Martin C2 and he just took the top piece off and replaced it with a 2003 kind of red Adirondack spruce, I believe, pop piece that, Martin generally uses when they're making their own guitars. And he basically, he basically took a 1934 guitar and put a new top case on it. So I don't feel so badly about plugging in the hardware and the pickups and all that stuff into it. I don't feel like I'm destroying a piece of art. But the sound of it is great, and that's what I've been playing recently.
So they got some good music shops out your way?
They do. They really do. Elderly is probably the leader, as far as, I mean, they've got everything, and they're a nationally recognized kind of, store. I mean, they got everything, and they're great. I mean, I take all my stuff up there to be.
Now, with the success of this independent release CD, the Live and Unplugged to benefit the Purple Rose Theater, any future plans right now? Or you got stuff in the Jeff Daniels musical vault to put out another one? Studio release?
Well, we've got Christine Lavin, who's a big supporter of the CD, asked me to write a song called about food, putting out a CD in about 6 months to a year called One Meatball, which is basically people like me. She's very kindly included me with Dave Van Ronk and Tom Paxton and other people writing songs, but it has to be about food.
Okay.
It's a typical Christine Lavin comedy kind of thing. And so that's the kind of assignment, is to write something about a food, about recipe. And so I wrote this song called Tomato Pudding, which is, this family recipe we've got that we throw out every Thanksgiving. And so I turned it into this kind of, sexual kind of thing that, Christine blushes when I play it. So I'm going to put that on her CD. We've got a live version of it that I did at Joe's Pub in New York, but we're going to do a studio version of it that we're all
That should be great. And Jeff Daniels, our special guest, I got to thank you for coming by WVOF in the Upper Room. And our WVOF listeners, if you missed out on this interview and just checked in, we'll be re-airing it in its entirety for 3 days and 4 nights at upperroomwithjoeKelley.com. So we should go out with a couple songs from the CD and make sure fans come out to support you on this tour. And if you're in Chelsea, Michigan, 10 shows from December 20th through December 31st. JeffDaniels.com. Let's see. We'll go out with a song which talks about your encounters on the movie set with Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry Blues, which has got a lot of humor to it. And, of course, a song I'm sure means a lot to you. Mama never left her oldest boy alone. Very supportive mom, right?
Very much so. And she said something to me that kept me in New York, and it's probably a big reason why I'm still in acting.
So thanks, Jeff. I really, really appreciate it.
Good time.